Well, Glenn, we usually kick our episode off with a quote, and I felt this tied in perfectly because it was something that we spoke about at the conference, which our conference theme was dreams to destiny. And the quote is, your dreams don't have to be big. They just have to be bigger than you are. John Maxwell. And Glenn, I'd just like to get your perspective on that quote. What does that mean to you? You've been in this business. How long have you been in the final expense business now?
I've been in the in-home sales for probably 25 years, final expense for probably 20. And then we formed ORCA in 2016. But what was your question again now?
So my question is, reflecting on the conference in that energy, I know Ashley, the young lady that was on our former podcast, she talked about bottling that up and really spreading that out throughout the year because there was so many exceptional takeaways and so many young folks there. Did you ever dream that ORCA was going to be on this path? I know you had big dreams for this business, but did you ever dream of what you felt this last Friday and Saturday over the weekend?
You'd like to think that I did, but sometimes with the group that you surround yourself with, it happens in spite of yourself. And a little bit of that happened this weekend. When what was really cool is that we were actually in a tent. And it was a beautiful tent. I mean, it was where they do weddings and, crystal chandeliers. But
very expensive.
Very expensive tent. But I felt like I was at revival. Okay. One of the things we know as entrepreneurs, every morning we're reborn. I mean, every morning we are looking at some way to move our entrepreneurial spirit forward. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you, in that tent, it felt like a daggone revival. There was so much motion, so much moving parts, and the weather threw in there some great excitement too. The tent held together through this storm that was coming through. But the thing I really think it held together through best was a storm of energy that we were putting out on that stage into the minds of 170 to 250 people that were I never saw anyone stand up, look away, get on their phones, none of that. They were just on point with everyone that was up there speaking. So proud. I was so proud.
I was too. And honestly, Glenn, as you're speaking, I'm thinking about the folks that drove in. How about the Houston team that drove 16 hours in a minivan to get to this conference? Talk about commitment.
Yes. Yeah. How was their energy? I mean, what a wonderful group of young men and women. I mean, what about that energy that they brought to the organization 16 hours away? It was great.
Yeah, it is great. I mean, like we said, we're the old dogs, and it's I'll be turning 40 here in a couple weeks, and as we kick around the thought of the group and the people in that building, that tent, 20 to 30 something is hot and heavy in our business, and it coming off the conference and some conversation we had there, some other guys in the business, Cody Askins, we'll give Cody a big shout out. Thank him for coming in. We talked about that, and the industry is getting younger. There's a lot of people that have been aging out of the insurance industry, and it's beautiful to see these young folks and us be able to equip them to be so good in our business. But just like you said, Glenn, I think a lot of that from kicking this conversation around all week long, Kevin Glasscock, who's been here with us before, made the comment that, when we did this last year, it's not that the content wasn't, like heads and shoulders better this year than it was last year. We put a good product out there, but what it really is that's different is we got the right people with us, and a lot of them. You know what I mean? We got a lot of the right people here, and that kind of speaks to your entrepreneurial spirit, right? Like you're saying, like just a passionate. I'm good. If it's up to me kind of person that wants to put their world on their shoulders and take an opportunity and make something out of it to get what they're worth income is what we like to say.
No doubt. The naysayers of the world act like, the American dream doesn't exist. Heck no. The American dream exists better today than it ever has. It's all about perspective, David. And that's what our conference does. It shifts perspective. It sets expectations. When you look at the two of you all, you were 30 somethings when you got in the business, right?
Yeah.
You were 30 somethings. And then when you look at the 30 somethings that you all turned in today, because you're still 30 somethings, you all have set a stage, okay, or plateaus that the other 30 somethings can accomplish. When you look at my age, you're going to think, well, he should have already done that by now, right? But for the two of you all to be able to do what you've done so early in your business career, entrepreneurial career, I should say, it's a great proof of concept and a great success story. And what's even more, even more awesome is that we've got other 30 somethings coming in right behind you all to do what it is that they've never really knew they had the ability to do, but now they're dreaming bigger than they ever thought they could dream because of what we do here at ORCA. David, you said it in the past, you had an XYZ number that you thought you had to have to retire on. I remember that conversation. Glenn, all I got to have is this number. Can I tell people what that number is, or is that not cool?
Sure. Tell it. Like Pat Thordick does. We talk about money.
We'll just throw it out there. This is the cold hard facts, man. This isn't ice cream. So the number David had out there for them to retire by was 5 million. All I got to do, Glenn, is get me 5 million. And, now his whole dream and his perspective has changed because you know what? He's already done that. And now he's growing and they're growing. Lindsay and David are growing to do something even bigger and better. So I think it's funny how time goes on, the more and more that you mature as an entrepreneur, your perspective changes, and it should. If it doesn't, then you know what? You're running in place. And we talked about that too. People that are running in place, really, they're running backwards, okay? Because the rest of the world is going by them while they're just running in place. So they're going backwards. So we talked about that at a conference. It was just a unbelievable information shared to move people to make decisions to get to where the two of you all have gotten.